Today, the FOMC announcements seem to be what drove the markets south, and we're going to go over all of that in tonight's stream. We are going to talk about the dollar. We'll go over Bitcoin, the S&P, the Nasdaq, the Russell, and as of right now, I'm sure one of my admins will jump in on the live stream and tell me we're going to break down the Grandpa Dow, which has not seen this many red days since like 19 something. I'm going to get the facts later. But we're going to break it all down. Long story short, real quick, I'll give you the highlights of today's speech. So we had the FOMC, we had the rate cut decision. They did lower it 25 basis points. But then they also said next year there's not going to be that many cuts. And it was just along the lines of inflation. Inflation might be coming back. And Powell did bring up it's a double-edged sword. You cut rates too fast, it hurts. If you do it too slow, it hurts. So they're trying to play that game. But everything about it is kind of just more lining up with what I've been saying the past couple months. And I do think there's going to be a crash next year. And again, a pullback, I guess it's 0 to 9%, a correction 10 to 19%, and a crash is 20% or more. And I said either a deep correction or an actual crash happens next year. It's normal part of things. It's just a normal cycle. Today's, you can see it on screen here. We pulled back from the highs down almost just 4%. So not, well, for the S&P, that's actually pretty wild. But I don't think this is it. The only thing this shows today is just how much we are sitting on eggshells and just how and take this with a grain of salt, how overbought things are. Things are very expensive. And I don't even like to short Tesla. I was short Tesla today. I mean, everything was just up there. A lot of things were just reaching. So at that point, I was surprised at how red it was not surprised at the red. In fact, I had a great day today because I was already short. I was bullish first, and then I went short. This is the classic just volleyball spike, which I will explain here in a little bit. Is this the warning shot or reset? Well, here's the thing. So I'm 3 for 3 as far as crashes go. Every one of them I talked about the year prior. Now, I have been early before, like, it's going to happen in March, and then it's a couple months later. I have never been late. I don't think the crash is here right now. I'm still thinking March. I just think right now it was worth it enough for somebody to lock in profits. Now, they might have locked in profits. They could have gone short, but it being the end of the year, anything they lock in profit-wise, they do have to report on taxes. So anybody curious, or, maybe they've made a little bit much, they might want to roll over into the next year, sell your position on January 1st. I kind of thought, honestly, that was going to hold Tesla over for a little bit, which is why I ended up buying. So I have puts for next week, but I also bought puts for the following week after that today for January 3rd, in case there was something like that where it just kind of got held up by end of the year, Santa Claus rally, banks are out of town, anything like that. It actually panned out amazing. I'm still in those. Let's just get to the stream. Let's get into it. I will. Yes, this was posted in my chat, and somebody's asking right now, did I see Nucleus? Yeah. So so yesterday it was at a low of $1.50. It's at $44 right now. Sounds like a great investment. There's not much for me to break down on this. If you're still in this, you're wild. Congrats. Hopefully it goes to like 150. Hopefully it continues up. But good luck. And I don't say that with sarcasm. I'm 100% serious. All right, looking at the dollar. Oh, the dollar shot up today. Wow. More than I was paying attention to. So I was long this. I actually already got out of that. I'm debating on going short right now, as a matter of fact. I'm going to wait. I'm for sure going to go short at this yellow zone, but for now, I am going to wait. Right now, yeah, the dollar is strong. Going back to just the dollar in general, that was a weekly zone that I really didn't want to see it break. Now, I didn't mind hitting it, pulling back, kind of testing it. I didn't mind this flirting with it area. I just didn't want that actually breaking. Here's our previous highs. What this yellow line is. Last time we were here, I just said we're fine. I just don't want it getting above that. It actually looks like we are right now, as a matter of fact. So dollar still rolling. Do I have an option strategy for 0 days to expiration on SPX? I do. It's specific. If there's a rein it back in play. If you watch my Sunday streams, we talk about expected moves on the market. If we get outside the expected move, and I think we're going to rein it back in, I'll trade that. But I've traded those a handful of times. Jumping into Bitcoin. Bitcoin had a little bit of a pullback today, a little bit of a spill, but what do you know? Still very much in that channel up. We went right to the bottom. I actually thought we would get to the blue zone. However, we did not. So right now, everything on my plate, if we were to hit that blue zone tomorrow, even the yellow zone, it ends up being a wick, no muss, no fuss. I'm actually fine with that. And we remain in the channel up. Everything's good. Literally my last stream, I said when we get up here, it's time to sell calls, time to take that bet as it comes back down. It just did it in one day. Powell said no. No Bitcoin reserve without law changes. Yeah. The U.S. buying Bitcoin, it would be a very big deal. That's not something they're going to just nonchalantly just throw out there. It has been talked about a lot, but for the U.S. to make a move like that, I think would be a much bigger deal. And I've seen a lot of everybody pressing Trump that he needs to do this from the first 90 days. Like, let's cross that bridge when we get there. That certainly is not the reason why I would be buying Bitcoin right now. If that does happen, I promise you would much rather buy Bitcoin now than later after that announcement. Shouldn't interest rate cuts be bearish for the dollar? Yes. But it was the news that came following. It was that. So right now, yes, cutting the rates weaker because we need to stimulate the economy, right? So it's not actually a good spot, which is why when rates go up, the currency's strong. But we cut the rates, and then we talked about how we're going to slow the rate cuts down. We already knew this rate cut was going to happen today. I don't know even the YouTubers. I have no idea if there was even anybody saying we were going to go outside of 0.25. So baked in, there was not a single person was watching or reading that report thinking, was it 50? It just wasn't there. So we kind of already had it in. So the bullish news for the currency was the fact that there's not going to be as many rate cuts next year. How much? Hang on, I do want to answer this question real quick. How much capital do you need to start with you doing that small challenge you started a while back? I started with 0, and I put $150 in. And I did put the $150 in every week. So every Friday, $150. That's the average car payment. It got to the highs of 16,000. Right now, I don't even know the full balance. It's pulled back because of AMD pulling back right now. But for anybody, this has been asked a lot, and I hate to get off track here. For everyone that didn't start when I started at 0, I would say right now we have a big position in AMD. But if you want to follow it, because I'm not starting it over again, I already did that once. I've actually started this account from 0 twice now. And nobody paid attention until we're up over 100% and you're up thousands. Then everyone says, oh, wait. Now I want to do it. It is very boring. It is not the hype stuff. No, it's not NUKK. But I will beat everybody that's in NUKK right now by the end of the year. It's just going to be the nature of the beast. But if you wanted to jump in and follow along, because I post everything I do, that's on Patreon, or if the Teachable course is still active right now, so that's donfrancho.teachable.com. That is lifetime. So if you want lifetime, jump straight to that. If you're more of a monthly person, go to the Patreon. But I would say if I were to do it right now, I would be following my upstart position because we have Mara, we have Riot. Those are smaller positions. We have 100 shares of each. We do have XLU, it's utilities, which I got to say might be on the chopping block. It's getting hammered. This one, it's not performing the way I thought it was, and then breaking that today kind of makes me think we just need to lose it. I wanted something outside of tech because the market's going to crash. It's not being sold tomorrow, and we'll see what this does. But it might free up this capital, so there's not going to be probably any more buys on this one. Rowdy says, "I just joined. It is so worth it." I appreciate that. Anyway, if you don't have the balance, like you just don't have the 16,000. You can't buy 100 shares of AMD, 100 shares of Mara, 100 shares of Beto. We have 30 shares of XLU right now. Right now we're at 15 shares of Upstart. Upstart pulled back today, so we bought some shares of that. This is something I'm going to accumulate slowly. There's a video specifically on Don Franz Show on YouTube talking about why I'm buying this. I do think this is going to be a play. This is a 6 to 12 month play. I would start following and jumping on that. When we do get 100 shares, we will sell calls against it. More importantly, next year, whether you're following me or not, I'm going to keep the 150 consistent, right? There is offensive savings and then there's defensive savings. Defensive, you just put your money in your savings account. You got that money coming in. Offensive is your money working for you. This account is combining literally all of that. Next year, because I do think we're going to crash, let's say you've been following me and you've been doing the 150 every Friday. If you can do 151, do it. If you can do 200, do it. It'll be more important for you to get as much as you can in that account, not tied to anything, but in that account. More important than ever. When the stock market pulls back and it's not up 30% on the year, that's the time to go hard. Not the time to be, we're up here in La La Land like most of the other people are buying Hawk Tua coin. We're going to pull back to reality, and I cannot stress how important this will actually be next year to have as much as you can ready and available. So if I or someone else were to say, or you were to come up to your own conclusion that, hey, this is the time, it's time to get in, you're ready, you're available, you're ready to rock and roll. You are bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. That's what you need to be. Anyway, so what I say is enough to follow the Upstart play at least. Because we'll have 100 shares. The premiums on this right now are amazing, so I'll end up selling calls against it. You'll use that to snowball into more. And after doing the account so it's been 2 years now. It was 0, go up to 15,000, 0, 15, 16,000 again. It's the same pattern. It's 0, and the first few months are mind-numbing and dull. And all of a sudden, it gets a little traction. And it's just because of the nature of the beast of the more money you have, the more money you will make. Everyone does not pay attention until it's up thousands. And that's why I can't start it over again. Pay attention because it's going to do the same thing. It's just going to get even bigger. +1 for Mike. The whole group is great. Yes. Yeah. So if you are on the Patreon, Mike does level 2. If you have a small account, just join the group. I specialize in helping new traders with small accounts. Yeah, so Patreon, level 1, just my plays. Patreon level 2, my plays and Mike's. Level 3 is where you're in the chat with me. You have all day. I stream every night. Mike streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That part's actually also on level 2. But yeah, Mike does a lot of selling puts and covered calls. He definitely does specialize in that. And it's almost been kind of geared towards actually specifically that, like, hey, grow that up a little bit and follow me in the meantime. If you don't have it now, you eventually will. I can't promise you that, but just know that almost happened. Almost broke the law. Anyway, I don't give financial advice, but I post everything I do, and if you were to agree with that play, your numbers will be very similar to mine. Now, let's move on. All right, the S&P. Talk about getting wrecked. Yikes. I was short the NASDAQ today, and I can't wait to talk about Tesla. Man, I was moving and grooving. I could not lose today on Tesla. All right, so this is the 4-hour time frame. We're off the charts. This is what you call a volleyball spike right here. Now, this happens a lot. This is why I was short as well. I'll explain more. I was definitely way more active in Tesla today. My NASDAQ play, I just went short and put my stop in the green and working out pretty good. Anytime there's an FOMC announcement, a rate decision, or there's a Fed speaking, there is an event coming up that I know algos are going to be paying attention to, scanning keywords, and I see it push up right before. just know, without even me making a video or going live, just know that I'm probably going short because it's going to push up. And now sometimes you can get the continuation. So I can't say it's 100% play, but a lot of times, man, it sends it up. And that's why I call it the volleyball spike. And if you're playing a game of volleyball, you have to set it and then the person spikes it back down. And Powell came out with Powell puts right on cue. So sent it up today, hit that yellow zone, blasted. And I mean, we had a minor hiccup. I have to like break it down that we even hung out at this zone. You can see the wicks right there. Let's go into the 5-minute. So we hit that, not a single green until we get close to that zone. We tried to, no, breeze right through it. Quick little hang up there. Now we hit this zone, play the back and forth game, break it a little bit, and then now we're kind of holding this bottom yellow zone, which is wild. I do think we're a little oversold right now. It would not surprise me to see tomorrow's green. I do think this is a warning shot and just a very much a symbol that we are walking on eggshells. Did the market just wake up to the fact that inflation might still be here? Job market might collapse. Like, these are all things that have been talked about. I've been talking about them for a while, but it's like today everyone else just got the memo. But his tie was purple. I don't know what the ties mean. I know people talk about the colors of his tie. But that being said, I expect this to probably get bought up. Oh, please get bought up. I put in the thumbnail tonight. It does say crash. All right, that's someone said got to get the clickbait in. Everyone's doing it. The Feds crashed the market, but today I gotta say, like, it's. Gotta be careful with my wording because last time I said this, it was the Rona crash. If tomorrow we sell off and continue, don't worry about catching the knife. I'll put it that way. I don't think the crash is here. I very specifically said during the Rona crash, it was that Thursday before, that if we sell off tomorrow, it's bad news bears. That was the literal start of the crash. Not saying that right here, but if nothing brings on selling and panic more than a red candle. The Hindenburg can say whatever they want. They can come out and just with all the trumpets. Wouldn't matter. The Feds can say whatever they want. Nothing will compare to the fear that hits people when they see that money start ticking down. They'll just start selling for no reason. It just takes over. So right now, I think we'll test the bulls and see how bullish people are, and if they buy the dip. And wouldn't surprise me if it actually took a couple days to buy the dip. You know, we jack around and do nothing. Like, we just chill. Let's go to the expected moves real quick. We're at 2 standard deviations. So a lot of this could have just been algos as well, as far as market makers getting a neutral delta, so you get that vacuum down. We may just rein it all the way back in. If it were to do that, then I'm going to triple down on the fact that I think there's going to be a crash next year. I expect us to jack around, maybe land somewhere up a little bit from here by the end of the week. But again, we break this, it's almost any put will do. All right, so going into the NASDAQ, I don't want to brag, but I made a lot today. This was the easiest contract I think I've ever gone short. Because even in the Rona, yeah, I would go short and things would come down, wick back up, come back down. I went short the NASDAQ, put my stop in the green, and I just started babysitting Tesla. And I mean, the dam ruptured. And I came back, I was like, this is amazing. Anyway, let's smaller time frames. I don't know if anybody played this, but the yellow box, we came all the way down. Oh, actually, hang on. We came all the way down to here, bounced up, hit that yellow zone, came all the way down. So we went zone to zone right there. Now, there's that blue trend line. Still, all we did was come right back down to that. That's why I'm still thinking we're probably all right for the remainder of the year. Let's see, 20 years, it has not been this bad. Even in 2007, 2008, the volume is down at least 70%. Yeah. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't want to take this lightly. This is not the red candle where you're just like, buy the dip, don't worry. This is definitely a situation that you want to be mindful of. This is not time to be falling asleep at the market, unless I'm not talking about investments. I'm talking about as a trader. This is certainly a knife catch. Let's get to the expected move. You got a QQQ 515 call for Friday. Ooh, probably not bad. Now, this one I can see us just kind of reining it back in. The interest is down. Why is it decreasing? Because the interest rate cuts are also down. Grandpa Dow, where is my admin Cody at? Has anybody seen him? He's going to be fired. I need him in here. He said it specifically yesterday. It has not been down 9 days in a row or something like that since maybe it was 1970. I don't know. Long story short, Dow hasn't done this in a long time. Doesn't actually mean anything. We decided to hold at this bottom zone and get a little bit of bounce. 1974. Thank you. I can tell you right now, guys, this is why stop losses are important. Remember when I bought it at this zone right here? Can you imagine just bag holding that all the way down? Ugh. I thought a lower interest rate would help consumers. It will. That's what they're trying to do and stimulate. But the we talked about how many times they were going to lower rates next year, and that amount changed. So they're about to pause, and that's why everyone's freaking out, because it's not so not all sunshine and rainbows like everybody thought it was. Dante says we're going to short this duck. Not yet. Not yet. I don't think. First 10-day losing streaks at 74. 78. We'll call it the 70s. It was a wild time. I would be very there's two things I'm doing right now. One, I'm not going short this moment. I am still short Tesla, so take that for what it is. If I was already short, my stop would be in the green. I wouldn't be adding short right now. And I'm doing one of two things. If I'm a knife catcher, I'm catching this knife and I'm going long, or I'm going to sit this one out and kind of let the dust settle, almost like a bad earnings. Let's get let's at least get tomorrow in and see where we're at. Because what tomorrow's going to do, you can really judge the bears by the bulls. And we'll just keep it on the Dow because it's so clean. If the bulls can only get it to here, that's trouble, right? If we can get it to that zone and that's it, no. If the bulls full send, we get back to this yellow zone, we make up even 90% of what today did down. That's a buy the dip, sunshine and rainbows, everything's fine. Jump in, the water's warm. And we'll crash next year. The scenario of we just kind of hold sideways is the more scary scenario, where we're probably going to continue down. Because the only thing we're doing right now is like we kind of ran into that opposing force, but maybe we ran the clock out. And tomorrow when the volume returns, either everyone's going to have the night to think about it, calm down, buy the dip and get excited, or they're going to stay out. And if they stay out, that's when we gear up for the continuation. And then it likely won't be March that the crash happens. It actually really might start January. Steve says tomorrow and Friday will tell the story. It really will. Charlie says buy the dip. Dante says, can I short it? And Tiny says, in UKK. In UKK. Call out in UKK if you guys actually played it, like from $1 and up. So only in YouTube probably won't be surprised by this, but only TikTok's calling out in UKK. It did get called out in my chat earlier, but I'm just really curious what your average cost is on in UKK if you're in. So no V tomorrow equals concern. Yeah, it certainly wouldn't be a good thing. I'm very careful with my wording, because if we don't V-shape recover tomorrow, but Friday we send it, all we were doing is kind of just digesting this info. Let's give it the remainder of the week. And yeah, at that point, it might be time to use the adjectives, right? The scary words. Bought it at 45, sold at 54 in 8 minutes, and made $320. Not bad. That's how you play a ticker like that, and then you move on and you forget about it. For real, is this crypto? Oh, this is the Dow Jones. It's kind of like crypto. It's just been around a lot longer, a lot bigger, and everyone's 401k has it. The go flat button. Oh, here's Lisa. Can you show an NUKK chart? So you know Lisa was late today. Here's NUKK. Yesterday's open was what, $2. Today it was a high of 60, almost $68. Right now we're at $43 after hours. The go flat button. Just again, real quick, guys, I'm about to get into Tesla. There's one thing I don't joke about is the go flat button. Now in TradeStation, there's a go flat button, closes all your positions. It's the get out of here button. Market sells everything. I did say it in the Rona crash. So if you guys ever do see me say that in the chat, just know that that's not a joke. That's not like a fire drill. I closed everything. What did they do? Solve the world's problems for the next 80 years? Yeah. They said interest rates don't actually matter. We got you. Is a financial technology company which engages in the provision of blockchain-enabled technology solutions. Okay. It is software and technology solutions for worldwide crypto and foreign exchange transactions. Well, it's got some buzzwords in there. Regardless, that has every metric of a pump and dump. There's a reason why yesterday it was $2 and today it's 42. Now the $2 price is likely because it sucks. They had a reverse split probably just to stay on the market because it already sucked, which means it was like literal pennies. And then today it's jumping up. Talk to me when it actually holds a level. Lots of taxes that way with the go flat button. Yeah, it is. So when I click the go flat button, that means I think the crash we're about to see is worth the taxes because you're going to exceed the taxes and then buy it still cheaper. So yeah, if I ever say go flat, there should be no other questions as to what I just did. That means I sold everything. It's all closed. Usually is followed up with, I also bought these puts. Let's talk about Tesla today. What time to be alive. Oh, send it. Send it, little baby Tesla. Could not lose today. Talk about the well, at least my chat knows this, and everyone that was in there. TikTok, there's a bunch of you guys right here. I just encourage you guys to share it and follow. So today in the Discord, traded Tesla quite a bit. So I actually swung puts overnight. Now they were up, and then when the market opened, and we dipped down, I had sold some puts. I had sold some puts against it. So I had, at this point, it was next Friday's 470 puts. That's what I had swung. And when we dropped down, I sold the 435s, 440s, 440s. Sold the 440 put for this Friday. They were just shy of $3. Because as soon as I did, it went to $3. Pop back up. So that's technically a bullish place. As that went up, I ended up closing those puts, riding the put back, closed the sold puts. The bought put rode it back down. The only part that sucked was right here. I sold another one. I was like, oh man, come on. Sold another one, and then just a few minutes later, just getting worked. Now down here at the bottom, I did buy some. Oh, they're already down. I'm not in them anymore. What time was it? It was right before power hour. I had bought calls. The calls only came back up I think I made $50 on them, which was amazing because I had bought. Yeah, I was right inside here. I'd sold another put against it. So again, another calendar spread, just trying to collect some theta for an oversold bounce. Bought calls, dumped, came back up. I'm positive $50 on all the calls together. I did lock those, and I said I wasn't swinging those. I'm just swinging the puts right now, but played almost every bit of this action. What was wild though was in one day Tesla went from a high of 488 all the way down to 427. The untouchable, which we did talk about this in Sunday stream. Maybe Sunday stream. I told you guys Tesla is up there, and when the red candle does hit, it's going to strike like lightning, which is exactly what it did. Let's see. What's gold and silver going to do if the market goes lower? Depends on how the market goes lower. The market can grind lower. That's fine. If there's a certain amount of panic, they're like raccoons. They'll buy the shiny stuff. That being said, I am still. Give me 1 second before I say something wrong. I should still be in Tesla puts. 100% not in calls. I did close those. Okay, yeah, I'm still in puts. So break it off in them. Tesla only just got outside the expected move, pulled right back down to just the middle. I would not be in puts if it was down here at this $400 mark. Yeah, that's gonna be the expected move. There's a zone there. I expect more of a bounce on that one. Let's do MSTR real quick. I think NVIDIA will dip down to the 200 moving average. We'll check that out for you. Ooh, MicroStrategy. I'm surprised Cody's not in the chat with this trumpet, because Cody likes to sell MicroStrategy puts right here because they're absolutely insane. Right now it's at this zone, but breaks that wick, you might own them. So that risk does come with a reward, but that's kind of it on that one. That really is a 50-50 on that one. I think if there's a panic, they'll unload everything, even gold and silver. Yep. Now that's kind of what happened during the Rona. There was no safe spot. It was sell everything. But that's a lot of panic. Let's see, MicroStrategy underwater on the 370 puts, but can roll those. It's crazy how much premium is in these and how much you can roll these for and avoid assignment. Can I get thoughts on Dogecoin? Yes, I can. And there was literally one I just said I would break down. NVIDIA. Let's do NVIDIA and AMD. Dogecoin. Here and now. If I wasn't in it, this would be a buy. Whether I'm in it, I'm not Doge boy. I'm not here to hold things forever and say I do it for the people. I'm here to make money. I don't care what direction the market's going, as long as my money's going up. I will short, I will go long, I will sell calls and puts if it goes sideways, or even in a variation of the other two. And right now, I would not have $1 in this if it breaks this wick. That's it. Dogecoin is not the Department of Government Efficiency. It's kind of a funny coincidence, but not the actual coin. You're not going to pay your taxes in Doge, as in you owe the IRS, and they're going to start accepting Dogecoin. Okay, not to mention how many coins they make per day. There's a lot of reasons why this should be going down. The only reason it's not is because of Elon and people that believe this thing, and that's it. And you have to buy 14 million coins a day just to keep it flat. Anyway, if it breaks that, hopefully you win. I would not be in it. Do I think NVIDIA will pull back down to the 200 moving average? Do I have that one? I have the 200 EMA. Do I have just a moving average? Let's see. Moving average simple. Okay, let's get that back. You want the 200? Oh, we probably go to the daily. Do I think it'll pull back down there? Not yet. Let's make that a little bit thicker. We can't make the line a little bit thicker. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Let's bold that thing up. Come on. All right. Right now it's sitting at 115. Probably meet you halfway in the middle at 120. Do I think it could? Not this year. Which is awkward because there's only a couple weeks left. Next year, yeah. I very much think it will. But I got to say, next year, there's a lot of powerhouses that I'm willing to take that ride on. NVIDIA will be one of them. I have NVIDIA. I do have AMD, Meta, Tesla. There's a lot I will ride on the way down. I'll sell calls along the way. I won't accumulate more, but I will let the sellers do their thing, let it get low, and I will wait, and I will buy more. NVIDIA's one. And if you're not good at timing the market, bad luck, just you're not doing it every day, I can't give you the advice. But I think next year it'll be down. The following year it'll be up. It's really panicky and really bad when you look at your account and it's down for one day. But if you're buying it for a couple of years, then it's just a red day. NVIDIA is not looking so great now, just rolling over. This is not rolling over. This is not the definition of rolling over. That's a pullback. That dog is still wagging its tail. It's just not as fast. That's it. I mean, if we really look at the grand scheme of things, guys, we haven't done jack. The only reason why today is a warning shot is the rate and speed at which we sold off and how much ground we covered. If we'd covered this much ground over 3 days, nothing to worry about. No one would be talking about it. The only reason, because we did it in a couple hours, just kind of shows you how sensitive things are. That's it. AMD, same thing. Really don't want it breaking this zone. But it is one that I'll just be continuing to sell calls on. As far as the growth account goes, though, I'm going to start seeing what the average cost is because we bought it. We've been selling calls. Again, we have calls right now that are going to expire worthless, which means we collected 100% of that money. I'm going to see what the average cost actually is and start working that strike down on that. What's up, Samir? Maybe just drip invest every week in AMD, Upstart, and Bitcoin 25 and 2026. That's what I do. Do I think Tesla will go up to 475? Is there like a time frame, David, as to when it would go to 475? Before or after we hit that zone? We'll see. Right now, after hours, it is 442. We'll have to see. I'm going to do a couple more real quick. Can I do Mara? Sure can. Thoughts on Hood? That's a good one. I got to get rid of this moving average. Sorry, guys. Mara for me, dip buy at that anything sub 21. If it could get to that yellow zone, I think that's a dip buy. Now, I think Mara, after that last earnings, I think the company changed, right? They're diversifying into data centers and all that. That is a fundamental change. This is still a Bitcoin miner. I think we're going to start fading away from that, right? They're not selling their coins to pay the bills. They're actually issuing debt to buy more Bitcoin. They're keeping all their Bitcoin. It costs them about $46,000 to mine a Bitcoin, which right now still $100,000. They're still doing great. We're still seeing the effects of it just being an old school Bitcoin miner. 18 is what I would really like to be at. But there's kind of two different plays here. There's short-term plays, and then there's the long-term play, because I think the fundamentals just turned. So this one it's hard to answer on a stream like this, because what are you doing? You in it for a quick buck? Are you trying to accumulate more? Because I think long-term, I think end of 2026, this is going to be a great ticker. And I'll sell calls along the way, the whole way. But the volatility is certainly there. Certainly enough to play. It's been a great one to actually play the in and out game on. If it got to 2050 today, there would have been another alert in the account that I would have bought more if it had just got to that zone. So that's what I'd be waiting on. Thoughts on QQQ? What is the holding point? I will show that, but somebody asked about Hood first, real quick. Thoughts on Hood? I like it. It just got up there really quick. Hood needs to cool off. I really do like Hood, but I mean, I talked about liking it down here once it broke that, and then we just went for it. I even bought it down here. I haven't done anything with it. It just kept going. But when a ticker pushes up like that, it needs to pull over or pull back. Right now, it's pulling over, which is great. I do think it'll be a good one next year. I think a lot of stuff's going to pull back a lot next year. Breaking this zone, probably going to come on down to this one. Until it breaks this zone, that's currently your dip buy. Breaking that, coming on down. The world is ending. Factories are shutting down. Soup plants are growing. I guess this is why the market dived? No. Add Mara to the drip invest list. All right, QQQ, what is the holding point? The low of today. So if you're not watching the futures and you're just watching the ETF, 512. You break 512. Sucks to suck. If you're still in it. Let me pull up 2 standard deviations real quick. QQQ, 2 standard deviations down was 511.07. Close enough. That's 5 cents off. So market makers have a decision to make right now. We're outside 1 standard deviation. So market makers, maybe they did it today, and that's why the vacuum down. But they need to remain at a neutral delta. Inside this first range, they are at a neutral delta. Outside this, they're not. So it's time to start getting there, which means they either start working that position and it comes down to here, or they rein it back in. An article comes out, some headlines, whatever it takes, rein it back in, tell everyone to buy the dip, and then no one needs to do any work that day. So for this week, it's going to be that level right there. Let's see. I do have to ask my mentorship this right now because it's their turn. No. All right, I got to end it. I got to wrap up here. I got to get to my mentorship group. But, man, why do things get weird outside of 1 standard deviation? Because market makers needing to do their job. Market makers don't really do anything until it breaks that. They have it all accounted for. Do me a huge solid. Make sure you're following me. Subscribe, follow, whatever it takes. The schedule's going to get weird the last couple weeks of the year. I try to keep it a consistent schedule on YouTube, but I might just randomly be at my desk and decide to go live just to hang out with you guys. Am I still holding UNH? Yes. I have UNH leaps. So that was up today. Yellow zone to yellow zone. Anyway, guys, I have to get to my mentorship group. Again, if you're curious about that, if you're a one-time person, that's donfranshow.teachable.com. If you want to do more of the monthly thing, just check out Patreon. But I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll see you guys all probably very soon. Anyway, have a good one.